Enjoy a taste of spirit with delicious dishes and mediumship. Welcome to the Deb and Chris Show. Okay, Christine, here we go. Very excited. Episode number 3. I'm so excited. And this is not a box. Now it's a new bag. But this
Which I will probably be keeping this bag because I really like it. It's like a potato sack bag.
What of mine don't you keep?
Not much.
She steals everything. It comes over to my house. Are these new tweezers? Yeah, I think I'm going to take them home with me. Empties out my makeup bag or my daughter's makeup bag. I like this. Empties it out, takes it home with her.
Yeah, your purse.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really nice purse. I use it all the time. I love it.
Emptied it out at the kitchen table. Didn't say a word to me, just started putting her stuff into my purse and just left with it.
And the funny thing about the purse actually is I helped Mom pick that purse out for you for Christmas thinking, I really like this purse.
That part I didn't know.
I didn't intend on stealing it. I was just like, I really like this purse. And
hey, well, you're not stealing this because this is now. So the spirit that this episode is in dedication to, when I went into the shop, was like, oh, yes, that needs to be what tonight's food goes in. Food is love. And that is so true for this family. It couldn't be truer for this family. So Go ahead and unload.
Okay. It's a heavy one. And I heard jars glass clinking. Mm-hmm. So we have olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Oh, we have some nice salad mix. I love this. Wait.
Super yummy garden. Can you read the place?
Wicklow Farm.
Yeah.
Cowichan Valley salad mix.
So good. I've never opened a bag of their salad that wasn't amazing.
Is this why what I said to you earlier, I said, oh, later on, I'll make us a nice salad for dinner.
And I said,
you didn't really say much of anything. You just seemed excited. And I was like, oh, okay. This is probably why I guess we're having a salad for dinner. Red wine vinegar. I think you got ripped off at the store for the red wine vinegar. Uh-huh.
No, that came from my counter.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then this one came from your counter too. What is this one?
That did not come from my counter.
Wait a minute. What is this? Hold on. Calvados. What is it? Grand Salage. Brandy. It's like a brandy?
It's brandy.
Oh, it's actual brandy. Okay, it didn't come from your counter, but why is it half empty?
Yeah. So that's what this is. So you know that I can't have brandy.
Right.
So and supposedly I did a little bit of research. When you are cooking with brandy, the alcohol still stays in for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Unless you actually get rid of the alcohol from the brandy.
Yeah.
So I got rid of the alcohol from the brandy.
Oh, perfect.
So you're using brandy, but you're going to use this brandy so that I can eat it too.
Oh, nice. Okay, darn. I thought I was going to eat it all myself.
But you do get to keep the rest of the bottle, which is great.
Very cool. So you just like boiled it out?
I lit flame to it. I boiled it and I lit flame to it and it just burnt away. And that's the remainder.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I wanted to stay true to the spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we have some Dijon, one of my faves. I'm loving what's happening here because I know that this is a salad dressing I would typically make. And my Tito. We have a stick of butter, unsalted butter. Parsley. Oh, I just threw out some parsley today. Too bad that I can't know what's happening in here. We have a bunch of apples. Oh, I just said to you about the salad too. I'm like, oh, I normally put apples in it, but I've got nectarine here. We could put nectarine in it. Okay, so a lot of apples. Okay.
So this really, truly wonderful spirit is the father of a friend of mine named Yvette.
Oh, no way.
And
who I don't know, but I do know Yvette.
You do know Yvette.
Yeah.
But you didn't know her father. And he is just an incredibly remarkable man. And I have some wonderful things to tell you. But this food is really important to him.
Okay. So this is the meat. And Oh, sausage. Okay.
Now I had to have the butcher.
It's chicken sausage.
I had to have the butcher make this because, in fairness, this wonderful looking chicken sausage is not as what do you say, processed as it needs to be. So really it should almost be like pate in there. That the chicken, Yvette's
dad,
they
want it to be like, they made it like pate, or
Yvette's dad, John, I would say JJ or Jean, because he's French.
Yeah.
These sausages would be like ground down even more. So this is as ground down a chicken as I could get. And I said to the butcher, I need the most ground down chicken. He said, well, that's it. And I said, well, then that's going to have to do. But in his family, they themselves would grind the chicken down to be just almost like a wiener, like a hot dog wiener, that kind of ground down. So this is as close as I could get, Jean, and I am so happy to bring this to you, Christine.
Well, this is great, but I am a little bit stumped for this one, I will say, because I'm either thinking that I'm going to take it out of the casing and really mix it up and almost make like a lettuce wrap using the endive.
I paid big money to get all the chicken put into the casing.
So the chicken's going to stay in the casing. I misunderstood. Okay. So you can certainly go ahead and tell us the story about John.
And as you clue in a little bit to what you're going to do. Now, remember, Christine does not have to make Jean's food, but I would really like it if you listen to him. And I know that he's here. I know that he is celebrating in this because he gave so much guidance to me today. When I was talking to his daughter, I said, listen, he's showing me apples. Now, I know that your family pressed apples, and I know that you make apple pie, but he's telling me that it's not about pressed apples and it's not about apple pie. It's an actual food with apples. And so she said yes.
I think
and
apple brandy makes sense. Like, one of my all-time favorite recipes is an apple brandy halibut. So I don't know if that's what
there were two mice who became friends at Mars College. One was from the city, the other from the country. When they graduated, they promised they would stay friends and visit each other. Soon, country mouse.
Spirit has interrupted filming. As you can see, nothing has been touched. No words called for Siri to start speaking, and certainly nothing leading to the story Siri starts to tell. Spirits of our loved ones have the ability to affect electronics and can be a wonderful sign of their continued love for us. As we resume, words of the story will appear on the screen.
Two mice who became friends at Mars College. One was from the city, the other from the country. When they graduated, they promised they would stay friends and visit each other. Soon, Country Mouse visited the city, but right away he got chased by a cat and nearly run over by a taxi. He couldn't even eat lunch as the pigeons grabbed all the lovely rotten food on the ground. He decided to turn back. I can't visit you. How can you live there? Country Mouse wrote in a somewhat regrettably snippy email, but City Mouse understood. I'll come visit you instead, he offered. Soon, City Mouse visited the country. But right away he got chased by a hawk and nearly run over by a tractor. He couldn't even eat lunch as the crows grabbed all the seeds on the ground. He decided to turn back. I can't visit you either. How can you live there? City Mouse wrote, clearly a bit resentful of the earlier email, but eventually they had an idea. They met in the middle and took turns showing each other around. Soon Country Mouse knew which way to look when crossing the street and where to get the best pizza crusts. City Mouse learned when the tractors would be out and how to stash nuts and seeds for later. And once they got to know how each other lived, they became even better friends than they were before. The end.
Grab your glass, sissy.
Cheers.
In honor of Jean, who now we're going to have a little chat about because that was spectacular.
spectacular and wild for me.
Wild for you. So not coincidental. By the way, grape juice.
Yes.
Not coincidental that that I had just finished saying how he had been talking to me through the day, how he did amazing things when I was on the phone with his daughter. For instance, this brandy, she said to me, well, you know, you could just get a small bottle, and she named this kind of brandy. And immediately he said, oh, no, no, no. And I was like, no, sorry, that he says that that's not the one. She's like, oh, are you serious? She's like, Papa. She says, I said, no, I need to stay true to him. She says, well, I don't think that they sell his brandy here. And anyway, through discovering this Calvados, I think that's how you say it, Calvados. I'm going to put a little picture up of it after. I found it in the liquor store. So I said, I'm staying true to him. So he was doing such an incredible job. And when Siri suddenly came on there, not only was the timing of it, you saw the words that we put over, because I wanted you to be able to read as you were hearing Siri. That story, I was in tears. When I typed it up afterwards, we stopped the recording, of course, and we typed it up afterwards, I realized this is the story of Christine and I.
Yeah.
Like we're city mouse and country mouse. And
we were trying to understand what she was saying in that moment. And so we didn't catch the first few words or a paragraph, because we were thrown off. And then the light bulb started going off.
Well, this is that show. And Christine ran for the grape juice, and I was typing up. And as I was halfway through, I started to cry, and I went, oh my gosh. Now, what you need to know about him is he was a remarkable storyteller, not only verbally to his family and friends. He had a lot of stories about life,
storytelling,
but his creativity,
yeah,
and his artwork, and really, yes, just his life as a storyteller. And so, how remarkable that he should suddenly influence, and this is where we can talk a little bit about how Spirit does this, but how that he should suddenly influence Siri to all of a sudden come on, not even say that name.
Speaking of things on, should I go ahead and get started with this?
You can, if you, and you know, in the earlier part, you mentioned the halibut. Tell me about that.
It's I don't even know really what the recipe is. It's actually not it's not a recipe that I have, but it's my favorite meal that I had one time in Tofino, and it was a brandy, an apple brandy cream sauce, actually, over halibut, and the halibut was stuffed with prawns and brie, and it was spectacular. And I've always said, I'm going to try making it, I'm going to do it, and I just never have. I don't have brandy around my house very often, and so it's not something like that I have. So I'm excited to do this today. So in the meantime, I'm going to get the sausages on the stove, and then I'll start chopping up the apples to add into it.
And so great that you even know a recipe like that, because I wouldn't have had a clue. Well, you're finding out.
We'll make it up.
To be technical, I was told that boudin blanc is the name of this dish, or this sausage. And again, it would be ground down even more. But anyway, I just know that Jean is really appreciative of all of this. But to influence Siri to start telling a story that is really what these episodes, these shows are about, is my sister's cooking and my spiritual world coming together. And like she's already, said many times before, she doesn't understand this spiritual thing in our family was not a thing. And I've been very alone in it for a really long time.
But we also, just in our everyday lives too, obviously we love each other so much. But we are so different.
Yeah, very.
Like so different in what we like, what we like in our homes. She's very open and generous and selfless with time and loved ones. And I have more of a wall up around me. And yeah, it's amazing how different we are. I know she's always trying to chip away at it. But so just hearing that story was just like, it is us.
But to be
And
fair,
meeting in the middle, doing this, where we're
is.
combining both of our passions and what drives us and what moves us.
And also too, what I, in between shooting this, I called Yvette back because I was so blown away. We couldn't continue videoing it. I was just like, what has he done here? This is just amazing. And when I phoned her and I said, look, Yvette, this is what he's done. She said, Deborah, she said, there's so many layers to this. And not only that, it's also about you and my dad meeting in the middle. And actually, this is one of the stories that I was going to tell. Over the years, I had met him a few times, and I really did enjoy his energy. Very, very different family from ours, Christine.
Yeah.
Centered really around food, their sharing of food, their making of food, their pressing of apples, all of the dishes, everything that's so important to them about France and their history is also powerful. And so it was such a treasure to do this with him. But he, in the spiritual end of things, in the mediumship end of things, they have their own beliefs, but really, the family was not, very much into this aspect of spirit communication. But would you know that, and I cared for him very much, as I do all of Yvette's family. But wouldn't you know that the day that he dies, he asked that when he died, that his daughter send an email to me.
Oh,
to me. I'm telling you, I cried.
Wow.
The email said, I'm going to need you.
I was just going to say, is that because he wanted to be able to connect to you through?
I had never done a mediumship session for him. I didn't even know that he believed that there was something more, but I think that he liked me and that he trusted me to some degree. And I heard that he had a friend back in France who wrote a deeply spiritual book. And I may be able to make connections about that later. But anyway, he had instructed, please send Deborah this email when it's my time to go. And so I received this email the day of his passing that said, I'm going to need you. So watch out for me. He said, but I'm going to need some time first. Well, wouldn't you know? Day one. The first day he passes, he comes through like a lightning bolt.
So Jean, just so you know, this is amazing what's happened here today, but when she leaves, you go with. Because as much as I love what has happened here today, and I love Yvette. She is an amazing woman of strength.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is her loved one, that's meaningful to me as well, but still, you got to get with her.
Here's the thing. No, it's so good that you said that though, Christine, because what people don't understand is he's not a ghost.
Oh,
he's not here, Christine. He's not gonna stay here with you. He's not gonna, follow me home in my car. That's not how this works. When we lose our loved ones, they expand into a consciousness, an expanded spirit, the eternal being that they are. And that eternal being is no longer located. So by that, I mean that they're not just in any one place, that consciousness, if you closed your eyes right now, and where's your favorite place that you've ever traveled?
Well, I'm going to say Tofino. I haven't traveled the world, but I've been to some very beautiful places, but
so you closed your eyes.
Favorite. Yeah.
And you laid back on the couch.
Yeah.
And you envisioned Tofino, and you imagined walking into your favorite place in Tofino and seeing the water and smelling the ocean. And maybe there's birds. Describe a little bit of Tofino.
For me, it was just getting up there and getting into the hotel that we were staying in. And it was like a townhouse, but the townhouse was right facing the water. It was one of the only ones facing the water. And just, first of all, opening the big sliding glass door, laying on the bed, and I fell asleep to the sound of the waves.
So
Just
as you're talking about it right now, can you feel yourself there?
No, but
yes, but can you feel yourself
100%.
there? So it's the same thing. So in spirit, there is a movement to attention to where they want to express themselves or share parts of themselves or be witness to. You know, a lot of family members, when they have someone pass away, say a mother passes away, one sibling might live back in Ontario and another might live down in California. And suddenly, at the same time, at the same moment, one sister smells her mom's perfume and the other wakes up at 2 a.m. with sparkling lights and feels the presence of her mother at the time of death. These things happen all the time. Well, how can the mother be in two places? Because there's expansion. There's the essence of who we are is energy. And so that energy, that beautiful energy that is JJ, that is Jean, that came forward today to share so much with me earlier in the day about the food and with his daughter, is worked energetically with the computer to align things. I don't know all the technicality of that. I just know this stuff happens.
Yeah.
This was a phenomenal demonstration. And I knew it was him saying, I see what you're doing. This is beautiful what you're doing. I'm going to narrate for you the story of what you and your sister are doing. You're doing City Mouse, Country Mouse. And I love
totally
it.
are.
And what a validation. What a beautiful And in that story was food.
Yeah.
Pizza crust
That's
and
the whole thing.
and story. It was so great. So I'm marveling. And it's also,
like, it really is, as much as I'm not joking, it is kind of weird to me, but it is also heartwarming.
Yeah.
Like it is like, I mean, we're doing this because we're having fun doing it.
Yeah.
But it is that validation and just that, you know, because we are so different, being able to see that we can have these things that come together as well and that enrich your relationships, really.
Yeah. And I hope it does a couple of things. Give some really cool tips to cooking and also to lets my sister enjoy doing the very thing that she does so well, which is to cook, and just really enjoys it. We all know that about my dad and my sister. But also too, it's been really amazing for me to have you opening so much more to no. And I understand that you don't see it or feel it, and none of that's really important, but the openness to being able to talk about it. And
but same thing too, like we've always been open. You've always answered my questions with patience. You've never blamed me or been frustrated for me for not getting it. And I, you know, have come to understanding that this is how you see and experience things. And I've never doubted that. I've just never understood it. So no, it's a good coming together.
Yvette was on the phone with me one day, and her dad suddenly was present. And I said, Yvette, your dad is just like filling my heart with incredible warmth, like love. But then he put this image of a seahorse in front of my face. And she's like, what? And I said, yeah, like he's put this image of the seahorse in front of my face. She says, Deborah, last night, Mom and I were sitting on the couch together, and we were watching a documentary on seahorses.
What?
She said, but Mom leaned over to me and she said, Yvette, I love seahorses. And so here on the phone, Yvette's dad had filled my chest with this warmth and this love.
Sorry, I have no idea what I'm doing, by the way, but I'm just throwing apples in there with the butter, and I'm going to throw some of the brandy in.
I love it.
But I'm going to save some for the salad dressing too. Sorry.
It was the warmth and love that he put through my chest and then showed me the seahorse, which meant that not only was he showing me that he was with his daughter and his wife as they were watching the seahorse documentary, but that even that he filled my chest with that love because he heard his wife say, Yvette, I love seahorses.
Yeah.
And so, the way spirit communicates is that they come close to us and they bring imagery forward in the mind, and they can bring emotions suddenly into the body. They can, give us tingles on the top of our head.
Well, he certainly gave me tingles on the top of my head.
Yeah, the other thing when I was reading that story about the city mouse and the country mouse coming together, there's a man named George who was basically his brother and his best friend, and both of them are in spirit now together. And I did have that thought cross my mind, and I want to say cheers to George as well, because George was one of the very first spirits. Jean's friend was one of the very first spirits that I ever felt the touch of. And by that, I mean, in the very early days when I felt like I was going completely mad with spirit, I was laying on Yvette's bed. Yvette and I would always lay on the bed together and talk, like teenagers, and this is only, probably maybe 12 or 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're laying on the bed, and all of a sudden this man came close, and I was wearing almost like a military uniform, and there was a harmonica in my pocket. And there were other things that I was saying to Yvette, but I distinctly remember this harmonica in my pocket. And I said, Yvette, this man is here. And I described things to her, and she's like, yes, I know who that is. That's George, my Uncle George. And all of a sudden my hand reached across my chest, and I felt myself pull a harmonica out of my pocket. She's like, Deborah, he kept a harmonica in his pocket. And it was at that moment I felt this man wrap his arms around me and give me a hug, as if a person was right there. There's only 2 hugs in 15 years that I have ever felt. One of them was Hugmar. I felt Hugmar hug me, which had me crying for a very long time, which was beautiful. But yeah, this gentleman hugged me. So that was a cheers to George and Jean. And this is just also beautiful.
So when you feel that though, like I guess that's where I still get stuck, where I go like, oh, it's nothing more than just like, what do you mean you felt a harmonica come out of your pocket?
So I felt that I had a pocket here. If I said to you right now,
you're gonna have to always explain.
It's okay. It's good because it's good for everyone. If I said to you right now, one of your earrings is missing. Right. So you're wearing 2 earrings, right?
Yeah.
Now, feel like it would feel if you had one earring come off.
Okay.
You get a sense of that, right?
Yeah.
So you have weight on one ear, and on one ear, you don't.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So say I said that you just kicked your toe on the bedpost.
Okay.
You know what that feels like.
Yes.
And if I said you're wearing pants with no pockets.
Yeah.
You know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And if I said you just took your bra off. You know what that feeling feels like.
But I wonder if that's because I would have experienced with it on.
Well, but the thing is, I'm saying those things to you in words.
Right.
But you can get a sense of that in your body. Right?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I feel like I have a pocket on my left breast. I feel like the clothes I'm wearing, imagine right now if you were wearing military clothes, you kind of get a feel
restricted or
right?
Yeah.
The color, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Now you know what a harmonica looks like.
Yeah.
You know what one sounds like to blow.
Yeah.
Imagine right now the feeling if you had a harmonica in your pocket.
Okay.
You kind of feel that, don't you? There's a sense of it.
A sense it. Yeah. Okay. I can see that. Yeah.
So without words, but with the attendance of energy, they give me that same feeling. So the same feeling that you're getting by turning your mind to it, by the words I'm saying.
Okay.
Spirit brings their energy forward and goes, harmonica in the pocket. They don't say it in words. They make me feel or become aware of a pocket. And then they make me feel or be aware of a harmonica.
Okay.
So you see, it's really not that complicated. It's just that spirit is doing it. So energy is coming close and creating that influence. It's just like the wind that's coming from the fan and blowing our hair.
Right.
You can't see it, but it's having an effect.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
So would you question the air that's coming from the fan? You can't see that it's air.
I guess not. Yeah. Never
Right?
thought about that. Yeah.
So same idea. Anyway,
Okay.
isn't that just so amazing?
So
Beautiful.
cool.
So I love that he sent that email and that he did not need time to start communicating right away, which is beautiful.
I'm not sure what to do with these endives, so I'm just cutting them up to layer them on top of the salad. And I'll add a little bit of
Are you talking to him? Are you listening to him at all?
No, I was trying to pay attention to you.
But you have to, when you're talking to Spirit, you have to have two conversations at the same time.
Well, I feel like he likes the way that I cut these.
Okay.
Rather than having them as big leaves.
Okay.
Because they're just going to get nestled in the salad. But I do need to cut up the parsley. That's the one part he told me to shut up and cut the parsley. So I'm going to do that.
Okay.
But he said it with a French accent. Like, shoot up.
Shoot up.
However they say it.
I know, we're so not French. Okay, that leads me to something else. Okay. So sometimes people say, well, what happens if somebody doesn't speak your language, right? Like, what if they don't speak English? What if they speak a different language?
Yeah, I never thought about that. That's a great question.
So there's a lot of times, it comes up in sessions all the time, right? So, but there's a lot of times where I will say to my client, your mother didn't speak English, or she spoke English, but first she spoke another language. Is that right? And they'll say, yes. Sometimes I can identify what the language is. Most often I can't, because I'm not very worldly that way. So German, I can kind of tell because there's sort of a sound, but languages are not easy for me. But anyway, oftentimes I can sound things out. Well, again, one day I'm with Yvette's, we're having dinner, and then we settled down with some coffee after. And all of a sudden, a grandfather started to come through. Okay. And this grandfather was French speaking. And now, just because somebody is French speaking doesn't mean that they can't still communicate, because the communication of spirit is emotion and symbolism. And so I would be putting my English words to that interpretation, right?
Okay.
So whether you say a car in French or you say it in English, doesn't matter. They're showing me a car. If there is the emotion of love, but they would say,
sorry, but did John like limp parsley? He's laughing at the parsley right now. Okay, yes.
So, what was I saying?
I always interrupt you.
No, it's okay. You're supposed to interrupt me.
But I have a question. I have to stop you here.
Okay.
Why do they say, and I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but why do they say rest in peace? With all this talking, and they're so busy, Spirit, they're not resting. It should be at peace.
So stupid. Yes. No, I be at peace. It's just be like, oh my God, there's a bee.
Oh my God. You can't be around my house too often.
It's literally a bee
right here at the window. Oh my God.
And we've done this how many times?
Oh,
okay. So
don't you think that's true though? Like,
I think it's
they're
true.
Very active.
You're right. It's not rest in peace.
It's not.
Be in peace.
Be in peace.
And they are so peaceful as they're so active.
That's so
because
nice.
Truly, honestly, spirit is happy, and spirit is resolved in themselves. Just this week alone, I had 9 sessions, and in those 9 sessions, there were 5 of those sessions had loved ones that came through that were deeply apologetic, that were acknowledging the places where they had been hurtful to my client or created pain for my client. Many of them were expressing what's different about them now and what was wrong with them when they were living. And I say wrong loosely because there's nothing really wrong with us while we're living. We're just growing and learning different things while we're in this challenging earth walk. So so it's really a different experience for the soul when you leave the physical. So I was saying this week, when you leave the physical, some people the week before they die, 2 weeks before they die, sometimes even maybe a few months before they pass, are already starting to become conscious of things that they weren't conscious of earlier.
Like what? Like what kinds of things?
So maybe if a parent has abandoned a child when they were 5, and then they returned later on to their life, and the relationship continued on, but there was never really an amends. There was never really an acknowledgement. And the child might go, does my parent even actually really realize what they've done to me? How devastating that was for me. So sometimes leading up to a passing, if it's not a sudden or accidental passing, leading up to the passing, sometimes families kind of come together more. Do you know what I mean? Or there's a healing that starts to go on, not just for the people that are going to be left behind, but for the person who is leaving into the state of soul, that's leaving the physical.
Well, I think it's in those moments that people start to realize what's important, what we can let go of, what,
they're not holding on so much anymore to worrying about the future. So if I was to acknowledge to you how I hurt you, or to dredge up the past, I might be worried about our future together.
Right.
But if I'm on my deathbed, or if I'm close to the end of my life, I might want to take the risk then in starting to apologize or make amends.
Right.
So some people do have that kind of consciousness prior to their passing, where they know what's happened, they can see the impact, and they want to talk about it, they want to make amends. But some souls, some people that leave this world still with the blinders open or over. You know, that they, like those big horse things. Do you know what I mean? Like they honestly, truly could not and cannot see where they were wrong or how they were hurtful. I've had mothers come through that go like this, and they put poison on my tongue. And when they put poison on my tongue, I know that they're talking about saying things that are harmful. And so, and some of them will make my tongue go very bitter. I get a super bitter taste. And then I know that they were a person who was very bitter speaking. And so, they will give me this feeling almost of devastation that just kind of runs through my body. And then this feeling of incredible empathy. So they're going, I had no idea the way that I spoke, the way that I talked, like they didn't realize they were that vile or that they were that harsh in their tone. And now they can see that their daughter her self-esteem just took a nosedive. Do you know what I mean? Because of how her mother would look at her, talk to her, when that's not even what was in the mother's mind, you know?
I always feel bad for people though who can't get there before they pass, or the or the loved one that's left behind, where they didn't get that sort of closure on those relationship challenges.
I promise you, if you have relationships that don't have closure, when that person has moved into spirit, they are seeing things clearly. Where they have harmed you, they are deeply apologetic for. They are very sorry for. And sorry here, this smells so good, by the way. What are you making?
Well, this sausage and everything is actually done. I'm just making the salad dressing now. So we're actually going to be really quick.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
So this is actually a really great place to kind of wrap it up. Because what I want to say about apologies, because it's actually a really big topic. Do you know what I mean? And it's a deeply sore spot for people that are grieving. But here, if I hurt you, right?
That might be a bit much.
And I feel guilty.
That would be good. That would be really good.
I have hurt you in the past, and I have apologized. And
so I keep stealing stuff from her.
But the thing is that families have really deep pain. Do you know what I mean? Where we don't really have that in our family too much. So,
it's because we just ignore them.
Sweep.
Pretty much.
But what was I going to say?
No, we don't have the pain, the level of pain that many people have.
Yeah, some people have that for sure. Anyway, what I was going to say is that here we feel remorse. And if we feel remorse or shame or guilt, oftentimes our behavior can become even worse.
Absolutely.
We push away. Maybe somebody takes to drinking heavily. Things can kind of keep going astray because somebody feels regretful or remorseful and they try to bury it, right? And so here we get stuck with the depth of those emotions, and we don't really find self-empathy. We don't, if I hurt you, I might feel guilty and remorseful and either try to excuse my behavior or apologize for my behavior. But do I ever go into what was happening in me that I took that action, or what was happening in me that I said that thing? We don't often do that. We need to learn to do that. But the bottom line is we suffer guilt and remorse. In spirit, it's not the same. Do they feel sorry for the ways that they impacted us? Yes. But they immediately get the self-empathy part. They immediately move into, oh my God, when I was 6, my mom abandoned the family for another man. I was devastated. And because I was devastated and I couldn't deal with those feelings, I went on to da, 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 da.
Right.
And now I have a daughter that I kept my heart closed from, separated from, and it hurt that relationship. So in the spirit world, the mom is going, oh my God, I hurt my daughter, but now I know why I was the way I was.
Okay, but is that because they can assess things? Like, I don't understand how they do that. They're just energy beings, so they can assess things better because they're not caught up in all the day-to-day stuff.
They don't have the ego.
Okay.
They don't have the fear of the future, and fear of the past.
Yeah.
Fear of the future, regret of the past. They don't have that anymore. They see everything clearly, right? They don't have that depth of self shame really is the best word I can think of, Christine.
Yeah.
That so many people are shame-based. I mean,
that's very true.
Multiple generations have grown up with that.
Yeah.
And so also too, if you think about it, come back to this city mouse and country mouse. See, here's another layer to this. How often do we take the time to understand where the other person is coming from?
Oh my God, 100%.
Like, not
we're only because we're caught up in our own ego.
Not just to understand, but to actually move ourselves into what it would be like to be in their shoes, to live in their city or live in their town.
Right.
To see something actually deeply from someone else's perspective. I know I have not done that enough.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to try that?
Is it good?
I think it might need a little more
great,
salt.
by the way. You're doing everything that I think he wanted you to do, unless you put bourbon in that.
No, I didn't put any in it, actually.
Good.
I forgot.
Oh,
but I should actually.
No, when you said to do it or whatever that.
I can use the uncooked stuff.
I know, but he made you forget it because it doesn't go in there.
I think he forgot it. He forgot.
Okay, this is really wonderful.
So I'm just gonna plate it.
So if this episode at all
he just asked me to put a bit in.
If this episode at all helps you to
a bit.
Just stupid.
What's that?
If this episode at all helps you to let go a little bit of things that you're holding on to yourself, let go a little bit of your fear or any upset that you have regarding, we'll just bleep that out.
Please do.
Regarding, your loved one in spirit that maybe there was difficult relationship around. Some people, though, honestly, they don't want to hear that their loved one is doing okay,
right?
That they've hurt them, and honestly, they could care less whether their loved one is doing better or whether they're sorry. And that too is completely understandable.
Yeah.
Do you know what
absolutely.
I mean? It is understandable. But at the end of the day, everybody is healing. At the end of the day, everybody is healing.
I think that's the one thing that I always wish most for people.
Yeah.
Is that people can have more self-reflection. Like, I think it's even when people go, I know how I am. I know how I am. Well, do you? Or do you know how you're acting? Or do you know how what your part was in that? You know it from your perspective. But when you deeply listen to other people and hear it from theirs as well, I don't know. I just think
do you self-reflect a lot?
Never. No. I
thought you were going to give an example.
I do try. I was certainly always at work. I think I don't know if it's self-reflection as much as it is also just self-critical. And so sometimes that can be a bit of a challenge, but there's lots of times I'll leave a situation at work mostly and walk away and go, okay, what was my part in that? Or what could I have done different? Or, you know, because if I'm feeling a certain way, it's usually because I either ignited the situation, you know, I should have de-escalated a different way, or I don't know. I think self-reflection is really important.
It is really important, for sure it is. And, you know, also too, just kind of being more awake and aware of how you are in the world. I have a really good example of this too, where we can hurt people unintentionally. My son one day, he was a teenager at this point, and he was coming out of the house, locking the door, and I was in the car waiting to drive him to school. And as he was locking the door, I was in the car so full of gratitude, thinking, oh my God, I absolutely love this kid so much. Does he know what he means to me? Does he know what he is in my life? I just felt so in love with him. And as he got closer and closer to the car, I saw that he hadn't brushed his hair and he was still wearing his shirt that he had slept in and worn the day before. So he gets in the car and I go, Nathan, like, you haven't brushed your hair and you haven't even put a new shirt on. He did not hear all of the thoughts that I was having about my love for him before it. So my internal dialogue, my internal world, my internal experience was that of love and then frustration.
Yeah.
His experience of me was only of frustration and disappointment. How sad is that? You know?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that when I drove away from dropping him off at school, I realized it. The clarity was there. I was like, oh my gosh, he didn't hear any of the other stuff.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, it's important for us all to grow and learn. And this is looking absolutely amazing. I just know he is so happy.
Well, I hope so. I don't think we put enough bourbon in it. Maybe, I don't know, but we're about to find out.
I love what you've done. I'm going to pull a quick card
Yeah.
while you're tidying this up. Normally I don't bring cards, but today I did. And it's interesting, the one that I brought.
Before you try it. Is it good?
It's so good.
Okay, and I feel like we're just gonna like.
I wish Yvette was here to taste this.
I feel like we're just gonna cut these up like that.
This is a deck I brought. It's called Messages from the Spirits of Nature. And one of the beautiful things, when he passed away, he wanted me to give bouquets of flowers to some people in his family. And one person in his family, I had to send a bouquet of flowers to. And so I went onto this florist website and I said, okay, Jean, which one do you want to go to her? And it was this one. You've got to send this one. So the title of it was Forest Walk. And so I had the bouquet sent to her, and she returned with an email saying that it was beautiful, that it was that bouquet that came because the thing between her and him was a forest walk.
Aww.
They used to walk together in the forest all the time.
Beautiful.
So and this is so definitely him. This card is called Fire Intensity. And he really was a remarkably intense man, brilliant man, incredible creative. Like I said, a storyteller. Yeah, very intense.
The whole family is so unique. Okay?
Yeah, they're really beautiful people. I feel very fortunate to.
Okay, so what is this called again?
So this is called Baudin Blanc.
Baudin Blanc.
I don't know if what you made is called it, but I think you have made a wonderful version of it, and it just looks stunning. And I can't wait to
see a picture of it. Like,
yeah,
I guess you guys can't really see it, can you?
We do need to take a photo. Oh yeah, that's good. We don't need a photo. That's
okay.
Phenomenal.
You get first bite because I don't know.
Okay, let's refill our glasses and we'll come back to it.
Okay.
This is gorgeous, Christine.
Thank you. Can't wait to try it. I never would have tried this before. So.
Amazing, John.
Amazing.
Give it a go. Boy, that chicken looks amazing. I need to hold it up to the camera for Yvette to see how.
Oh my God. Our flavor combination is so good.
Wow.
Having the cooked apple in there and the raw apple. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
I would make this again.